Salve, buongiorno. My name is Vera. I'm Ukrainian. My native city is Kharkiv. My native language is Russian. I'm not a soldier. I'm just a musician. All I can do is to play. I play to support my friends. I have visited many countries with a concert tour. I have visited Italy for several times and I love your country. The only my dream is, and we will play our music. Thank you. Grazie mille.
Hello, I won't sit down or I'll fall over. I'm Tom Kington. I'm the Italy correspondent for the Times newspaper, and I'll be moderating this press conference this evening, which is rebuilding Ukraine through art, music and passion. And that is a project which will combine the arts with a bid to help Ukraine get back on its feet amid this Russian invasion, and also I think looking beyond to Ukraine in the future. And tonight we're going to hear from the people who are involved in this project, making it all happen, who are here tonight. And first, however, I'd like to ask up onto the stage to give an introduction Edward Llewellyn, the British ambassador to Italy. So, Ambassador, if you'd like to come up on stage.
Grazie mille, grazie. Buonasera a tutti, grazie di essere qui, grazie Tom. Thank you all for being here this evening. It's a great honor for me to be here tonight at this event, Rebuilding Ukraine, Art, Music and Passion. I think we can all agree that Ukraine has all three of those in industrial quantities. And it's a great pleasure to be here, an honor to be here alongside my colleague, Yaroslav, to be here this evening. I arrived as the British ambassador in Italy on the 25th of February, the day after Russia's invasion of your country. And the first thing I did, my first act as ambassador, was to go and call on my Ukrainian colleague to express the United Kingdom's total solidarity with Ukraine, our commitment to stand by your territorial integrity, to stand by your right to defend yourselves, and I think in the succeeding days and months, the United Kingdom has been true to our word. We've supplied military aid. We're training Ukrainian soldiers, 10,000 every 120 days. We're supplying arms. And our Prime Minister is today in New York in her first meeting at the UN General Assembly, reiterating the United Kingdom's total, unshakable solidarity with your country, and that will remain. Our military support and our political support is well documented. But what Russia is trying to do in Ukraine is not just targeting the country's territorial integrity and invading it in that sense. It is also targeting your cultural heritage. And I think at the last estimate, UNESCO had documented 192 sites that had been damaged in this invasion, and those horrific images of the horror at the theatre in Mariupol are etched on all our minds. So the role of culture and the role of people like Vera in standing up to this attempt to snuff out Ukraine's independence and identity are absolutely fundamental. And as I was coming in here in the car this evening, I was watching one of Vera's videos with her violin in those early days after the invasion, in that cellar with 11 or 12 fellow Ukrainians. And it was incredibly moving to see music, culture, the violin as a symbol of resistance, as in that sense a weapon of resistance. In the months and days, months and weeks to come, standing by your cultural heritage, doing what we can to protect it will be incredibly important. And this tour that Vera is shortly to embark upon, I had thought it was 8 cities, 8 theatres, 8 concerts, but I'm told tonight that it's risen to 9, which is terrific. That will be a very powerful demonstration of Ukraine's determination and of its cultural identity and heritage. I remember when I went to the Biennale, my first Biennale in Venice back in May, I went to the Ukrainian pavilion and it made a profound impression on me. And the United Kingdom is very proud to be doing what we can to help Ukrainian artists, Ukrainian musicians, whether it's at the Edinburgh Festival this year, whether it's at the Cheltenham Book Festival, where they've been present, whether it's next year hosting on behalf of Ukraine the Eurovision Song Contest. It's very poignant for me that Vera Litochenko should share the first name of one of Britain's, one of the artists, one of the singers who helped my own country through the Second World War, Dame Vera Lynn. Dame Vera Lynn, who famously sang a song which said, who famously sang a song to our troops all over the world in the 1940s, which the words of which famously read, "We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when." And our late Queen, in her very famous, one of her last broadcasts to her nation as the COVID pandemic was taking hold, famously said, "We'll meet again." So as your Vera prepares to embark on her tour, your Vera, who in that cellar in Kharkiv came to embody the spirit of Ukrainian resistance, echoing the images of Tom and my grandparents' era, generation, in the underground shelters in London. It's a great honor to be here today. We look forward to her coming to Italy as well as other European cities. And we're by your side today. We'll be by your side for as long as it takes until Ukraine wins. Thank you.
like to invite on the stage Ambassador Yaroslav Melnik, who is the Ukrainian ambassador to Italy. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Your Excellency, my dear friend, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends. I am pleased to be here today and to greet the participants of this important event, the presentation of the cultural project Rebuilding Ukraine through art, music, and passion. This unique project focused on the reconstruction of cultural heritage of Ukraine hit by Russian aggression constitutes the extraordinary gesture of support of Ukrainian artists in this challenging time for Ukraine. It's very symbolic that this event, this presentation is taking today in the day named the International Day of Peace, established 41 years ago by the United Nations. It should be the day of non-violence, when every nation ceases the hostility towards others. Instead, this day is a tragic, as all the last 209 days of the Russian aggression. We bid farewell to our heroes and send new ones to the battlefield with hope. We pray for our prisoners and those who are under occupation. And we cry with parents who bury their children. And as if in a mockery of the Day of Peace, Moscow this morning is threatening the whole world again with their nuclear power and announcing mobilization. We all want peace, but we must find the courage to be not those who are trying to find the peace by any means, but we need not to be a false pacifists. It must be clear that the victim of aggression does not have to pay for peace. Calls for peace must be addressed to the aggressor country. And we did not start this war. We want it to be finished as soon as possible, and we want it like no one else in the world wants it. We are making incredible efforts to do this. And culture, as a system of fundamental values, cannot remain outside the war. Culture distinguishes us and gives us the strength to fight for our common values. Culture overcomes anger and hate, and it helps to get through the difficult times. Art, and in particular music, is a universal language because it draws on the deepest source of our spirituality. In these difficult times, the collaboration between Ukrainian and international musicians is a sign of a great hope. And I take this opportunity to thank all of you, to thank the president of the 4Elements Association, the artist director, my dear friend, ambassador of Great Britain to Italy, and all partners who made it possible for arranging this important event. I'm sure that every element of this project, Rebuilding Ukraine, will be further confirmation of the solidarity and support of the Ukrainian people. The protagonist of the project, the young Ukrainian violinist that we have already seen, Vera Litovchenko, whose name means faith, will be the symbol of faith in the indomitable spirit of Ukrainian people and will become an international art ambassador to remind to all people around the world what unites them: their humanity, kindness, and sharing of a common destiny. Once again, thank you very much for your great initiative, for great support of this project, and for your solidarity with Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Daniela Roppolo, who is the president of the 4Elements, I'm going to try and say this properly, AssociAction, which is a combination of association and action. Don't ask me to say that again. So Daniela, if you'd like to come up on the stage and talk a little bit about this. And go ahead.
Good afternoon to all of you, first of all. And please let me, Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for having 4Elements AssociAction and this international press conference. And Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for believing in this project and for joining us. Thank you.
Daniela.
Here we go.
let me ask you, can you tell us about 4Elements? What is it?
So, thank you, Tom. The purpose of 4Elements AssociAction is to act. And that's exactly where we started. Significant issues has been addressed in recent years, but our future looks no less demanding. That's why sustainability talks must continue apace to turn into actions. Today, more than ever, we are living in a world that is constantly changing, and the urgency today is to act and to transform sustainability into concrete projects able to reply to global calls to action, generating sustainable commitments into measurable and above all lasting results. And by the way, it's not by chance that the next COP27 next November is called Bold Leadership, Brave Actions. So, and now we have talked about the AssociAction. Now let's have why 4Elements. 4Elements because the health of both planet and human beings depend on, let's say, an intimate and connected relationship among the 4 primordial elements: water, air, fire, and earth. They have always influenced our past and will guarantee our future. We have to find, let's say, an intimate relationship in an harmonic vision between nature and humanity. And in addition, and then I promise I'm stop, the 4Elements projects put the actions of human beings at the center, where the anthropological factors become the essential resources for sustainable regeneration and innovation process, what is called integral sustainability. And all these matter, all these ingredients will ignite in us the will to protect and to have a better future for next generation.
And how does that all then lead to working with Ukraine?
So, talking about the rebuilding Ukraine, art, music, a passion, let's have 4 numbers. 9 cities, 9 concerts, 30 days, 3,700 kilometers. We believe that the heart is a fundamental asset for each country. The cultural heritage is what makes a country unique and alive, and that's what it must be preserved. We are arranging a tour, a European tour, where in the main European capitals where the music is important. We'll start from Kharkiv, will pass through Warsaw, Berlin, London, Prague, Budapest, Vienna, Trieste, and Milan. And during it's really will be a fascinating journey with a deep dive into the music, but also into our genuine emotions, positive and negative. David Livermore will be the director of this European musical tour, and Davide is actually an international professional, well known, and he is a pragmatic man, but above all, Davide signed the last opening in the Row at La Scala in Milano. And so we are very proud that Davide is on board with us in this journey. During the tour, we will meet local population, young at heart, women, men, but the music will be the real protagonist. And we will meet international stars as well that will share with us this unforgettable experience. And last but not least, a dedicated docu-film will testify this journey. But we won't be alone in this journey, because we have a special ambassador. Don't get me wrong, another kind of ambassador. And maybe we have Tom as a surprise.
Care to expand on that?
Do we have a surprise? Surprise, surprise.
The lights are going down.
Hi, Vera.
Hello. Good evening. Buonasera.
Ciao, Vera. Come
Ciao.
stai?
Sto bene, grazie Daniela.
Aha, she's learning Italian language because she has a good teacher. So, Vera, thank you so much. But please, before giving you the floor, let me share that it was pretty tough to contact Vera, and because in Italy we knew Vera. Okay, so, excuse me, but because we knew Vera by the newspaper, but she was just a name for us, and the first person who called Vera of our team was Daniele Petirro, and please, I would like to thank personally Daniele, because he is the backbone of this project, and not only. Anyway. When it's funny, it was funny because when they talked, Vera thought that it was a joke, and no way to have a second chance. It was only just thanks to the Ukrainian embassy that we have had the opportunity to talk a second time with Vera, isn't it, Vera?
Yes,
So,
it's true.
anyway, today, little by little, step by step, we are a good friend. So Vera, thank you so much. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniela. So, maybe I should introduce myself once again. My name is Vera Latovchenko. I was born and grew up in Kharkiv, Ukraine. From my childhood, I was sure of two things. I want to be a musician, and I want to live in my hometown, Kharkiv. And I didn't change my dreams when the war in Ukraine started. I decided not to leave Kharkiv, but to stay and help other people in any way I could, including with my music. In the first weeks of the war, we weren't sure we would survive. We hid from bombardments in basements, in bomb shelters and underground stations. I was sure that I would never be able to play my violin again, and I thought that my profession was so useless. Our only connection with the world was the internet, which fortunately still worked. One day I saw a video of my student. She was hiding from the bombings in an underground station, and she started playing violin for the people around her. They listened and became less scared and less lonely. In that moment I realized that it was also a way to fight and help people. I started playing for my neighbors from our basement and posting my videos on the internet. It happened that a lot of people around the world saw my videos. They started texting me and asking how they could help. So I decided that I could raise funds to help people who had lost their homes, those whose situation were worse than mine. Thus began my fundraising activities. In 6 months, I personally managed to collect and transfer about $17,000 to people, and together with my friend Anastasia from USA, we collected and gave away almost $30,000 more. We help elderly and disabled people in Kharkiv to buy medicines. We help musicians from Kharkiv and Mariupol who have lost their homes. We help children in hospital in Dnipro, where people from the battlefields are brought. Also, we help music students who need to repair or buy an instrument to continue their studies. In addition, I continue to actively play music and teach music in Kharkiv. I play at underground stations, at resettlement centers, in church, in basement halls. I teach online. I try to support my fellow musicians, my students, and ordinary people from Kharkiv and from Ukraine. I believe that music is also a weapon that can make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vera. Thank you very much for coming to being here to address us today. Thank you. I now have a question for Daniela. Vera has talked about raising money, and that's one of the themes tonight. Tell us a bit about how that money would be spent.
The fundraise will be allocated to rebuild the Kharkiv Music College. The Kharkiv Music College was opened in 1883, and it's quite famous because it's the first institution in Kharkiv to train professional musicians, and it's famous also for its method, its path, set for different ages. And unfortunately, in March 2022, the building was damaged during a bombing raid, and today it needs to restore, it needs new instruments, it needs refurbishing, and the university alumni around the world are helping to raise funds and to restore the college, their college. And we, as 4Elements, wants to give our concrete contribution. We want to act and to allow children to feed their dreams. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we could ask the ambassadors to come back up on the stage and ask them. I'd like to put a question to each of them. And if I could, I'll start with. If I could start with you, Ambassador. If you could take the microphone. We've spoken about culture being a way to defend against aggression, and I wanted to ask you a personal question. When you think about the culture of your country and what you particularly value about that, perhaps the question could be, what would be the first thing that you would hope to do in terms of a concert or an exhibition or any cultural thing that you would be looking forward to do when Ukraine is free again and you're back in the country?
Thank you very much. You know, the culture is an integral part of our society, and it should not be so then when the country is in war and the culture is out of the war. If it is the real culture, it should be on the side of the good, and should bring all the best things to the society. You know, when we see these images and the words of Vera, all of us, all Ukrainians, really believe in our country. We really believe that when we win this country, it will be the new Ukraine, rebuild Ukraine, and rebuild Ukraine through the art, music, and the culture. It's very important for us to show to the world our culture now, in this dramatic and difficult time for us, but it is a good opportunity for us to demonstrate what we are, that we are the great spirit of our nation, of our people, and due to the hope and to the faith of Vera, I'm sure that we have a great future. And thank you very much for this. Once again, I would like to thank for this great initiative realized together with our partners. Thank you very much, my dear colleague Edward, Signora Presidente, for your support and for realizing this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to turn to Ambassador Llewellyn. And you mentioned earlier in your speech how Britain has supplied armaments and has also taken in a large number of Ukrainian refugees. But you also mentioned how there had been a warm welcome and promotion of Ukrainian culture in the UK. Could you talk a little bit more about that? Any particular things that you saw that perhaps reflected on how British people had understood that Ukrainian culture was worth fighting for?
Yeah. First of all, let me say what a poignant and moving moment it is to be here with Vera, as it were, on the screen, and to be on stage with her briefly behind us. We feel very close to what's happening in Kharkiv and indeed in Ukraine there. This year was due to be the UK-Ukraine season of culture, marking 30 years since Ukraine marked its independence. And there's quite an irony in that fact. But since the 24th of February, the UK and Ukrainian artists have come together. We've had, for example, the Ukrainian Freedom Orchestra in the United Kingdom this summer playing very moving performances. We've had the UK's Cultural Protection Fund, which we've set up, which is doing what we can with our partners and allies to help protect Ukrainian culture. I know that our Italian colleagues are doing a lot on that front, for example, committing to rebuild the theatre at Mariupol. I think what we see here today, what we hear from Vera, what we see with these instruments, a violin and a piano alongside us, culture is the essence of humanity. It is the essence of what it means to be human, what it means to have centuries of civilization behind us. And I think in moments of deep cruelty, as we see in war, culture is the opposite of that, and it's in a sense the antidote to the barbarism and brutality that we're witnessing at the hands of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So it's particularly important that we do what we can to maintain it, and as I've said, we've seen some examples of that, many examples of that over the last year between the United Kingdom and Ukraine, and we're going to see more of it in the months to come. As I mentioned, with the UK being particularly proud to host the Eurovision Song Contest on behalf of Ukraine next year.
Thank you. At that point, I'd like to open the floor, and if there are any questions for any of the participants, and se volete parlare anche in italiano si può, perché posso anche tradurre. So, hands in the air if anyone would like to ask a question. If not, I have another question of my own. I see a hand up over there in the back.
E faccio in italiano che è meglio. Thomas Cardinali
un attimo solo. Shall I translate or okay.
Thomas Cardinali per Cusano Media Group, vi volevo chiedere con che stato d'animo vi approcciate ad un progetto di ricostruzione quando poche ore fa il Presidente della Federazione Russa ha dichiarato praticamente l'inizio forse della Terza Guerra Mondiale, quindi rischiamo veramente che la distruzione sarà ancora più evidente e più ampia. Grazie.
Domanda a chi? Bene, non possiamo prevedere la fine, quando sarà la fine di questa guerra, ma dobbiamo già pianificare il nostro futuro. Se non cominciamo a pianificare il nostro futuro oggi, magari domani sarà un po' più tardi. Quindi questo progetto, questa iniziativa di ricostruire un oggetto infrastrutturale della musica Kharkiv, a me sembra una buonissima idea. E iniziativa delle ragazze di tutte le fondazioni, di tutti questi che hanno contribuito in questa iniziativa è una grande idea, e da nostra parte noi faremo tutto il nostro possibile per continuare e dare il nostro massimo sostegno e appoggio per realizzare questa serie di concerti.
Vorrei semplicemente aggiungere che in questo momento è anche più importante rafforzare la nostra unità, la nostra determinazione anche a livello culturale, ma in tutti i campi. Grazie.
Beh, a questo punto devo dire qualcosa anch'io. Quando abbiamo pensato a questo progetto, abbiamo pensato a un progetto che fosse oltre la musica, l'arte, la cultura, come è stato detto oggi, questa sera, più volte, qualcosa che è sopra tutto. Noi, per quanto riguarda noi, non entriamo in questo tipo di dinamiche, ma quello che possiamo fare è dare il nostro contributo con chi e come possiamo farlo, con chi è capace a farlo, per continuare a dare supporto a un paese, alle persone che vivono in quel paese, e questo è il nostro modo di essere presenti e di essere vicini. Grazie.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Oh, scanning the crowd, and that we might be okay.
Tom, I think that's così.
Prendo questa occasione di invitare tutti voi alla serie dei concerti che noi abbiamo inaugurato ieri sera all'auditorium, e quindi sarà una serie di concerti degli artisti ucraini che sono in fuga dalla guerra e presentano la cultura nostra in Italia e nel mondo. Quindi spero che avrete il tempo di godere e di ascoltare la musica attraverso, diciamo, i famosi opere internazionali, anche nostri ucraini. E voglio sottolineare che alcune anche di queste opere, di questi nuovi progetti sono stati creati durante la guerra. Quindi vi invitiamo a questa, secondo noi, grande iniziativa, progetto che noi realizziamo insieme con il Ministero della Cultura d'Italia e anche con l'Accademia Nazionale di Santa Cecilia. Vi invitiamo.
Avete parlato un attimo prima della conferenza sulla possibilità di venire a Roma, o sbaglio? Sì, avete parlato di questo. Esiste questa possibilità?
Roma è la grande città, penso che sarebbe...
Possiamo chiedere direttamente. Vera, I don't know if you can hear me, but any plans to come and play in Rome?
We will wait and see. I hope so, of course. I love Italy. Maybe I will come.
Look forward to seeing you. Thank you. Well, that brings to the end of the conference. So I should say thank you very much to the participants, and thank you to all of you for coming. Thank you, Daniela. If you have something to say to conclude the conference.
Yes. Grazie a tutti. Grazie davvero della partecipazione. Grazie.